Hello and welcome back to Lexi Rose Reads, and today I have another NetGalley Spotlight. So, I found the Maiden and the Unseen by Jeanette Rose and Alexis Rune on NetGalley. I was just browsing books that were available for download right away, and I came across this Hades and Persephone retelling series by these lovely people, and I am just one of those people. If it says Hades and Persephone retelling, I'm gonna buy or download it. Let's just put that out there. And I saw this, it was like, oh, I have to get it. It was available for anyone to request. I was like, I have to have it. So I downloaded all 3 books that were available, logically. And I started the book this week. And I read over a third of it in one day, which is honestly fairly rare for me for a book anymore. For me to sit down and just read one book, like, continuously for a day is pretty rare. I usually I gotta swap out my genres. No, I could not put this book down. I would have finished it sooner if I didn't work so much this week. You feel me? I worked so much this week, I just couldn't read. Otherwise, I would have blown through it. I stayed up way too late some nights reading it. I was up at 12:30 yet when I had to be up at 6 for work, still reading this book, and I had to go, you need to put the book down. Put the book down, Lexi. Just put the book down because you need to go to bed. But I suppose I should tell you guys what this book is about. So, like I said, Hades and Persephone retelling. In this one, it does not follow the traditional format of the Hades Persephone retelling necessarily. I mean, there's obviously parts, but not all of it is the traditional sense. So in this one, Persephone is working as a social media manager, and Hades is the CEO of a company. And Hades decides that he's going to find out which god or goddess is evading him, because he's in charge of all of the gods and goddesses' money for them to be able to live, and most of them just don't work. He's they just like to party, they don't work, blah blah blah. So he's trying to figure out who, and there's someone he can't figure out who it is. So he starts shutting off accounts, and he goes, I'm gonna find out who it is. I'm gonna find out who this person is. And what do you know? It's Persephone. And so when he meets her, he instantly has decided, you're gonna be my social media manager now, and you're gonna work for me to work off your debt, because that'd just be him at this point. And slowly, but really not that slowly, they fall in love, or in lust at first. They know they are fated mates, and so they're all over each other, trying to avoid it, trying not to. Really, Hades is holding back because he knows that Persephone is in a relationship. She says she's really not. Girl, you kind of be in a relationship, though. Let's just be honest. You kind of be in a relationship with him. You've been with him for 6 months. You kind of be in a relationship, But regardless. So Hades is I'm not going to be in a relationship with you until you break up with him. And eventually she does break up with him, and they begin their little romance. And Hades doesn't want to complete their union, because he knows if he does, the curse, as he calls it, will begin. He is very insistent that it's a curse. I don't know if it necessarily, I would personally call it a curse, but he says it's a curse, because if their union is complete, Persephone will have to live the 6 months in the underworld with him, which I find interesting. I'll get into that a little bit later. So the end of this book ends up with their union being complete, but Hades is gone, and Persephone is whisked away to the underworld and has no clue what's happening, because Hades has not fully explained things. And he's gone. We don't know where he is. And so it ends up on a little cliffhanger, and I'm quite excited for book 2. Although reading the synopsis for book 2, I kind of have a feeling where he is, like, vaguely, but you know, that's just me reading a lot of Hades Persephone retellings and being really in the Greek mythology. So, what about this book that I like? I'm giving it 4.5 stars. There's parts of it that I feel like, you know, could be improved, but like overall, I had such an enjoyable time for like vibe and the story alone, and I'm giving it 4.5 stars. So, in this one, like I said, I've said this before, I'm a really big fan of Greek mythology. And Hades and Persephone, I don't know why, my brain has like obsessed, like that is the story that like my brain thrives on. It loves that story so much. I don't know why. It just does. And in this, like I said, it's not the traditional sense where I don't know how I really want to word it. It's not the traditional sense of one, but they're kind of like fighting against each other. They're also like not related. If you like actually study like Greek lineages, like the Greek god lineages, like everyone's related. They are not related at all in this. Okay, let's just put it that way. Which is like a nice change that they had to like personally throw that out there in like the intro of the book. But you know, there's just like these parts, and I think it's like really interesting. Like most of the other Hades Persephone readings I do, Persephone is never with someone before Hades, and she was in this book. She was with this man named Jackson. Jackson's kind of a piece of shit, but you know, that be it over there. You know, I'm glad she realizes he's a piece of shit. You know, I'm glad. Good for her, girl. And I feel like that was like an interesting add-in. I feel like that makes it different than other stories. Also, you know, the fantasy element. I really do like the fantasy romance element because it combines like two of my favorite genres, fantasy and romance. So like it's like perfect. And there is like the descriptions of like their wings and their horns. And I found it interesting that I don't know if this is like actual Greek mythology that only underworld gods and goddesses have horns. I don't know if that's like an actual thing that it was like in Greek mythology or not, because like I definitely have read that in other books that gods have horns, but it wasn't like specific to the underworld gods. I can't really comment on whether that's like a true statement or not. But there are just like I had such an enjoyable time with this book. Like the only like complaint I have is there wasn't much plot development because there were so many smut scenes, and I don't necessarily mind the smut scenes. Like I'm here for it, but overall, like I feel like there could have been a bit more plot development. But I saved on my phone here something that just like killed me when I was reading it. Let me scroll up to it. Okay, so I'm in like pretty early on into this reading. It's after Hades and Persephone's first meeting, and it's gonna make me laugh again. It's like, you know, the hate to love thing, typical of these. And Hades says something, and she like says, "I'm the goddess of spring," and Hades bolts. He bolts, and Persephone's reaction is, maybe he has hay fever. And that comment killed me. Maybe he has hay fever, so he ran away. And I just like couldn't get over that one comment for like the rest of the day. It makes me laugh so hard. But yes, I would highly recommend this book. I had such an enjoyable time. I am so excited to get into book 2, which is The Mistress and the Renowned, I think. I'm looking forward to it so much. I had such an enjoyable time with this book.